Mauritania has an HDI ranking of 0.513, a GDI of 0.818, and a GDP of $1,077. Mauritania is located in northwestern Africa on the Atlantic coast. The climate is extremely dry and constantly hot as it is in sub-Saharan Africa. The country is subdivided into 15 different states and administrative regions, although many of the states are sparsely populated due to the extreme heat. The country has two major cities, the capital of Nouakchott and Nouadhibou. Like many countries in North Africa, Mauritania is a mix of cultural legacies, from its African roots to Arab influence and French colonization. Mauritania gained its independence in 1960 after over 100 years of French colonization. Immediately following the departure of the French, the Black Africans dominated governmental positions due to their higher success in the French educational system. The forced Mauritanian president initiated his Arabification campaign to give white Moors more power, which subsequently put in place a slavery system with the black Moors submissive to the white Moors. Even though slavery was abolished in 1981 and became criminalized in 2007, slavery in Mauritania has continued into present day.
Slavery is still such a widespread practice because slaves either aren't told they have legal freedom or don't have the means to enforce it. Mauritania has the highest enslaved population percentage worldwide, with an estimated 20% of the population trapped in chattel slavery. Often, recruiters push women into domestic servitude with false promises of providing shelter and education for their children. Education in Mauritania is outrageously insufficient. There is a lack of resources and an unequal distribution of schools in rural areas. The literacy rate for Mauritanians is 50%, and the dropout rate is very high, especially for women. Women are also faced with cultural barriers, such as early forced marriages, that prevent them from even attempting to obtain an education. Schools aren't equipped with trained counselors, which is an issue because many women suffer psychological trauma from scarring situations, such as female genital mutilation or sex trafficking. Without proper education, Mauritanian women are more susceptible to human trafficking and are unable to advocate for their own deserved freedom.
The Abolition Commission is a new organization founded in 2017 that is dedicated to the abolishment of slavery in any form. Our mission is to reveal and eradicate all forms of human trafficking and advocate for the right of victims affected by such exploitation. Our newest case is Project Mauritania, a working development on diminishing human trafficking in Mauritania through education. As part of this case, we are partnering with Mission 21, Empowerment Institution, and CampFed to provide programs to train locals for restoration services to child victims, empower women in challenging situations, create new economic possibilities, and educate young girls and women. We intend to improve access to education in rural areas by establishing primary and secondary schools, training Mauritanian teachers, providing a fixed salary for teachers, and providing vocational training and hiring local school counselors. We are initializing families to keep their children with at least a 75% attendance record in the school by providing monthly allotments for food. The incentives will cap out at 5 children, the average family size, to help improve family planning. Families who send their daughters to school will receive a greater portion of food to increase female education. Greater access to education will empower women, provide them with service to handle past traumas, and give new generation a better understanding of their rights. Increased access to education will decrease human trafficking and especially minimize the amount of women lured into domestic servitude with false hopes of receiving their education for their children.
The Abolition Commission expects to face some cultural resistance to the education of Mauritanian girls. This is why we incentivize families to send their daughters to school. Our organization hopes to create a sustainable program in Mauritania, which will be a challenge if we don't use our resources intelligently. Because our cap is 5 children per family, it is likely families will decide not to educate any of their additional children. The children who they decide to keep home will more than likely be their daughters. We are also concerned that such a high cap will encourage parents to have exactly 5 kids, which is an extremely high total fertility rate.
Starting with a budget of $1 billion, we are able to essentially add 20% to the nominal GDP. We are hoping to use this sum of money to eliminate the underlying causes of slavery and to prevent it from reoccurring. The average teacher salary is about $5,000 per year in African countries, according to the Humanitarian Library. With Mauritania being a rather poor country, the $5,000 that would be paid would be well above the per capita income of Mauritania, as well as well above the average teacher salary. This would provide enough incentive to attract people to become teachers, as well as keeping teachers who are thinking of pursuing another profession. With a country that is seeing a large amount of natural increase in population, the importance of education also increases, and they will need to hire more teachers. If we were to hire 5,000 new teachers and counselors, paying them each $5,000 for the next 16 years, it would cost the Abolition Commission $400 million. With the remaining $600 million, the Abolition Commission plans to split it between the construction and maintenance of schools, as well as funding our incentive program.
The Abolition Commission is determined to reveal and eradicate all forms of human trafficking and advocate for the rights of victims affected by such exploitation. We intend to go about this by implementing improved education and enforcement of anti-slavery laws. Our current project focuses on slavery in Mauritania.